Hello and welcome to my channel. Over the next two videos we are going to look at the three main mills which stood next to the River Esk in Musselburgh. Below you can see Tesco, its car park and the wire mills housing development. This vast site was once the land where the Brunton Wire Works stood. Brunton's wire mill had been producing metal parts and equipment for more than a century, and played a key part in the war effort during the Second World War by producing materials and equipment for the aero industry. Despite trading for over a century, the vast wire mill closed in 1997 and moved the short distance to the Inveresk Industrial Estate, trading as Brunton's Aero Products. The second complex of buildings was the Stewart's Net Mills. The mills were producing high quality fishing nets and rope for well over a century until the doors were closed for the final time in 1979. The final complex of buildings was the paper mill. The paper mill was closed in 1970 and the majority of the buildings were demolished. But before we get to the mills, we will have a look at the mill laid water channel which supplied the water power to the mills. The mills got their water supply from the River Esk. At the falls in the Esk, there were sluice gates to control the flow of water to the mills. This channel was called the Mill Lade and provided water power to the numerous mills in the town. The lade was a channel of water which ran at the back of the paper and net mills and along the front of the wire mill. The lade then ran along the mall and ran through the town by the way of the High Street, Dambray, Mill Hill, supplying several flour and grain mills before re-entering the Esk at Goose Green. The first mill we will look at is the paper mill. Alex Cowan and Sons owned a paper mill called Valley Field near Pennycook, which discharged pollution into the River Esk. With the introduction of esparto grass, which could only be used by boiling it in caustic soda, the pollution of the River Esk had become intolerable. In 1866, the Duke of Buccleuch, Lord Melville and Sir J.W. Drummond of Hawthornden brought a court case against all the paper makers on the River Esk. Losing the case, the mill owners were forced to take steps to reduce the pollution. Alex Cowan and Sons responded by building a pulping mill at Musselburgh in 1867. This did not reduce the total amount of pollution, but it did allow it to flow directly into the sea, thereby bypassing the people most likely to complain about it. Later, it was converted into a paper mill. By 1914, the mill was producing fine writing, printing and art papers. The process can be explained by watching this archive footage from 1929. The process starts with the import of esparto grass from North Africa. This grass is good for making high quality writing and art paper. After a thorough boiling, it is passed through pulpers, sand traps and strainers, and any unwanted material is raked off the top. Every process makes it look less like grass. Bleaching gives it a new complexion before it goes into the pulping machine. With the addition of china clay, starch and other ingredients, the pulp then enters the paper machine. The paper now enters a coating machine, which gives the paper its polished surface. Each step along this machine gives strength to the paper before going on to the heated drums. The paper then goes through a drying process. Calendars finish the surface and the paper is now ready for use, and it is now transported throughout the world. By February 1949, the mill had been extensively reconstructed and modernised, but this did not prevent the 600 workers, 200 of whom were women, being put on short time. There were still restrictions on the consumption of paper and trade was slow. In 1952, some 400 of the mill's employees were on short time working, and by 1959, there were increasing concerns about the future of the paper industry. In 1965, 500 workers at the paper mill went on strike, an indication that it was then still a major employer in the borough, but by February 1971, failure to find a buyer ended in closure, with around 260 workers made redundant. Much of the mill was demolished, but parts of the mill still exist and several independent companies now work out of these buildings. Next week we will look at the two remaining mills, the Stewart's Net Mill and the Brunton Wireworks Mill. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a wee like and feel free to comment. We would also appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. Bye for now.